Have you ever found yourself losing sleep worrying about tomorrow? That feeling that everything is in your hands, that you have to control every detail to make sure things work out? What if I told you that there was a lighter path, one that didn't require you to carry such a burden? Today we're going to talk about a secret that can transform the way you see the future, trusting that God already has a perfect plan for your life. Imagine the peace of living each day without the weight of worries, knowing that you are exactly where you should be. Sound impossible? Then stay with me, because what you're about to discover could completely change your journey. Let's talk, my friend. How often do you find yourself worrying about what hasn't even happened yet? Perhaps your thoughts race, imagining fearful scenarios, seeking reassurance that everything will work out. I can see how this can weigh on your heart. When I was in Palestine, I observed many of my children stuck in the future, trying to guess what would come, as if they could hold the reins of every moment. But this attempt at control doesn't bring peace. It exhausts. It robs us of the joy of living today. And I ask you, is it really necessary to live this way? I want to tell you that this restlessness, this need to anticipate and control every detail, often comes from fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of something going wrong, the fear of not being enough. But have you ever stopped to think that the future is not a burden that you have to carry alone? There is a greater force that knows your every move, sees your every wish, and above all takes care of you. I'm talking about trusting in something that is already prepared for you, a divine love that never fails, and never fails to provide what is necessary. Imagine a child walking alongside their parents on an unknown road. They don't know what lies ahead, but they trust that their parents are guiding them safely. They don't carry any fear, because they believe that whoever is by their side knows the way. So you too are being guided, even if you don't realize it at times. When you make space to trust and allow me, by your side, to carry the loads you don't need to hold, then fear dissolves, and peace begins to fill your heart. Think about it. The worries you feel today, many of them may not even come true. How many times have you lost peace over something that never happened? Anxiety about what doesn't exist yet is like a shadow that haunts you, and, if you allow it to, it grows to the point of obscuring the light on your path. But the light that God has placed in you is greater than any shadow. When you allow me to guide your steps, that light becomes a living flame that illuminates even what is still shrouded in uncertainty. So instead of clinging to the fear of what might happen, I want to invite you to open your eyes to what is already within your reach. When you choose to trust me, when you hand over your worries and decide to rest, that is the greatest demonstration of courage. It is an attitude of faith that transforms. This faith prepares you to live the present to the full, without the bonds of fear, but with a heart firm in the certainty that tomorrow is already in good hands. And so a new way of living is born, a trust that is not broken by the wind of uncertainty, but which becomes the foundation for a peace that the world cannot take away. I understand that this trust in God sometimes seems distant, almost like an abstract idea, doesn't it? After all, trusting fully, without reservation, isn't easy. But I want you to see trust in God differently, not as a distant belief, but as an embrace, a certainty that is born in the heart and transforms the way you live. Trusting in God's plan is like surrendering to the water of a river and letting yourself be carried along by the current, knowing that it will take you to the right place, even if the path is not always predictable. When I talk about trust, I don't mean a passive, purposeless waiting. Quite the opposite. Trust is a daily choice that requires you to have the courage to let go of control and the desire to know every detail of the future. This doesn't mean that you stop planning, but rather that by making plans, you hand them over to God, knowing that He takes care of what you can't foresee. He sees the whole picture, while you only see part of it. And it is in this love, in this greater vision that He has for your life, that you can find rest. But perhaps you're asking yourself, how can I trust in something I can't see? The answer lies in your heart. When you feel peace, when your heart is calm and your mind finds serenity, these are signs that your soul is in tune with the divine plan. This peace is the language of the Spirit. It speaks louder than any logic, deeper than any fear. To trust is to accept that God works in ways that go beyond what your eyes can see. And this trust begins on the inside, when you choose not to cling to doubts, but to rest in something greater. Trust also means understanding that you are never alone. Even in the moments when everything seems to be falling apart, know that there is a purpose that reveals itself little by little, like a work of art that only makes sense when it is seen in its entirety. When I walked among my children on earth, I saw many people go through difficult times, but I realized that those who kept their hearts open and trusting were the ones who found the strength to carry on. Faith in me, in divine love, is like an anchor that keeps you steady, regardless of the storms around you. And when this trust is cultivated, something incredible happens. You begin to realize that the small details of life, those moments that might have gone unnoticed before, now have a new shine. The journey becomes lighter because you know you're being guided. So instead of worrying about what's yet to come, you can focus on what's right in front of you, knowing that step by step you're being led to the place where the Father's love has always wanted you to be. Now think about something important. God already knows your every move, every sigh, every smile, every tear. He knows your doubts, your fears, and the deepest dreams you carry in your heart. None of this is unknown to Him. And more than that, He knows what you need to grow and flourish, even if the path sometimes seems challenging. When you accept that the Father knows your heart better than anyone, you begin to realize that every situation, every experience, has a greater purpose, even those that seem difficult to understand. Imagine that your life is like a tapestry that God weaves with care and love. From where you are, you often only see loose threads, tangles that don't seem to make sense. But God, who sees the whole tapestry, knows exactly how each thread connects and how each color has its place. There are times when this greater plan may seem distant, but I assure you, you are being shaped for something beyond what your limited vision can see right now. And that's why accepting divine wisdom rather than fighting it is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. When difficulties arise, many begin to question, why is this happening to me? Or, does God really care about my suffering? But these moments are often opportunities for you to draw closer to me, to trust in what you can't see with your eyes, but feel with your heart. Remember, every step of your way is being guided by a love that never fails. I remember a man I met in Palestine, someone who had lost everything and felt abandoned. He thought that life was worthless, that God had forgotten him. But little by little, he began to realize that this painful situation was leading him to a new understanding, to a strength he didn't know he possessed. This man found purpose in the midst of what was once suffering, and the pain he felt was transformed into a path of compassion and service to others. This didn't happen by chance. It was God's love guiding him to a new way of living. So instead of fearing what lies ahead or questioning the challenges that arise, I invite you to see each step as part of a plan for growth. Moments of difficulty are not punishments, but invitations for you to discover your deepest potential. There is always a lesson, always a purpose, and in the end, new strength. When you accept that every step is in God's control, something precious begins to be born within you, an unshakable confidence that calms the heart and brings peace that the world cannot give. Now let's talk about something we often overlook, the burdens we carry, and which, deep down, we don't have to bear alone. How many unnecessary worries weigh on your shoulders? Perhaps you have a habit of absorbing the anxieties of the world around you, trying to control every outcome, trying to anticipate every problem. But my dear, you weren't made to carry all that weight. There is a profound freedom in letting go of what doesn't belong to you, in trusting that the Father is at your side to lighten the burdens you were never meant to carry. It's like walking down a long road holding a backpack full of stones. Every worry, every fear, is a stone you put in that backpack, and over time, the weight becomes unbearable. But I want you to understand something. True faith in God involves learning to leave some of these stones behind. Not everything depends on you. Your task is not to predict the future or control the way things turn out, but to live in the present with the certainty that you are not alone. When you let go of these burdens, when you choose to trust and surrender your fears, your soul finds room to breathe. You become lighter, more open to the peace that comes from the Spirit. Remember what I once said, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." This promise is real, and it is for you. I am at your side to receive every one of those worries that weigh down your heart, and you just need to have the courage to hand them over. Releasing these worries is an act of humility and faith. Humility to recognize that you don't have to control everything, that there is a divine wisdom that guides the course of your life, and faith to believe that by letting go of what you can't resolve, something greater is taking care of every detail. Perhaps this means forgiving yourself for past mistakes, letting go of the anguish that insists on visiting you, or perhaps abandoning the need for perfection that so often limits you. Every stone you drop makes room for something lighter, something truer. And when you start to live with less weight, something new happens. You start to realize the beauty that exists around you, the joy of the little things, the moments of peace that seemed distant before. Letting go of the weight of worries doesn't mean caring less. It means trusting more. Trust that God is holding what you cannot control. Trust that your role is to walk lightly, with the certainty that you are not walking alone. Now that you are beginning to experience this lightness, I want to invite you to live differently. When you truly trust God, that trust doesn't just remain in your thoughts or words. It turns into action, into choices and attitudes that reflect this peace. This is how you learn to live in the present, with a calmer heart, with purpose, knowing that each day brings what is necessary for your journey. Think about it. If you truly believe that God takes care of everything, then your attitude towards life changes. Anxieties diminish, because you know that He is ahead, preparing every step. Instead of trying to control the future, you allow yourself to live in the present moment with more intensity, with more gratitude. Trust is not passively waiting for what is already planned, but a call to act, to seek what is good, with the certainty that the future belongs to the Father, and He already knows what you need. This confidence invites you to act with courage and say yes to the paths that open up before you. Often, opportunities appear, and insecurity paralyzes us. But those who trust walk with hope. Those who trust, even on days of uncertainty, do their best in the present, because they know they are not alone on the journey. That's why faith in God invites us to step out of fear and live with the certainty that, whatever the next step, He is there, guiding and watching over us. Remember that every choice you make, however small it may seem, is a way of expressing this faith. By treating others with compassion, by dedicating your time and skills, you show that you trust in the love that God has placed in your heart. By opening yourself up to new possibilities, you declare that you believe in the good that God has in store for you. When you decide to forgive, it's because you trust that God fills your needs and restores your wounds. Each act is a reflection of your commitment to living a full life, connected to the divine. And so, as you walk each day with this certainty, you begin to feel the transformation that true trust in God brings. Your life takes on a new shine, because it is no longer defined by fear, but by hope and love. And this peace, this state of trust, is the most valuable gift you can carry. After all, it is in the simplicity of each day that God reveals Himself and brings to your life a peace that goes beyond understanding. My dears, living these teachings requires courage, because truly trusting, letting go of worries and living in the present with faith is not easy. It's a path that challenges human certainties, but the rewards are deep and lasting. By surrendering your anxieties and allowing yourself to rest in trust in God, you discover a peace that the world cannot offer. A peace that strengthens you, guides you, and fills every corner of your heart. May every step you take from today be a reflection of this trust, an invitation for divine love to grow in your life. And if this message has touched your heart, let it touch the hearts of others too. Leave your mark here. Like, comment, share this message with those you love, and help spread this light. And of course, sign up to continue walking alongside me. Thank you very much for being here until the end. May peace always be with you, and may your life be full of love and purpose.